Hello everyone, my name is Grace Ama and I'm with my colleague Chukwudi Chimezie. We're associates in the Intellectual Property and Entertainment Law Practice Group of Duale, Ovia Alex-Adedipe. Today we'll be having a very insightful and interesting conversation about the contractual relationship between record labels and recording artists. Nigeria has one of the fastest rising creative music industries in the world. In spite of this, the parties sometimes overlook and trivialize the relationship and the contractual terms between themselves. Can you discuss the significance of the contractual relationship between the parties?
Hi, Prince.
Hi.
So first off, the relationship between the parties cannot be overemphasized. It's very important. First off, the artist coming from his background of the usual guy on the streets, having dreams and aspirations. He walks up to the record label. He wants to be the next big thing. And at that point, he's euphoric. He just wants to get that stardom and all. And on the side of the record label, they want to invest. They want to have the best signing on their side. So they're looking out for the available talent and they want to invest their resources. So at that point, you realize that both parties have interests which they want to achieve.
Yes.
And now to achieve this, there has to be adequate set out terms and obligations from each party. This is why it is very necessary for the record label and the artist to enter into a contract. So these things now bind their obligations to each other and ensures that they actually achieve what they set out from beginning to achieve. Do you understand? So it's very, very important.
Yes. I completely agree with you. The record label contract is absolutely important in defining the terms between parties. Knowing this, I'm sure that there's some essential clauses and fundamental clauses that must be reflected in the agreement. I know there are quite, many, but can you point us to some important clauses that must never be overlooked?
Yeah, definitely. Parties are bound by the terms of their agreement. So it's necessary for them to look into the terms. To ensure that the terms actually reflect their initial obligation, their initial intentions towards entering into the contract. So some of the terms that the parties have to look out for is, first of all, is the assignment of rights clause. Okay, this clause originally, the copyright in the masters belongs to the artist. So for the record label to exploit this right, most times the artist has to assign the rights to the record label for them to exploit and make profits, just as they initially set out to. But in the course of this, the assignment of right could be perpetual, it could be forever, for the record label to own it forever. However, the artist could also negotiate for it to be for a defined time, say 20 years, 30 years, after which the record label must have gained back its income and even profits of what they invested in the artist. So yes, so parties have to look into this clause to ensure if it actually reflects the intention of how they want to deal forward.
Yes.
Another one is the advance and recoupment clause.
Okay.
Now, when the parties enter into this contract, he could get houses, monies, and all that just for him to look a certain way, to look. You understand how it is being signed and all. So when he gets this, in most cases it's a gift, but sometimes it's not actually a gift. The record label is also a business entity, and they're looking to get back what they gave to him and even plus more profits. So in some instances they recoup the monies they spent on all these from his royalties. So the artist has to look out for these clauses to ensure, okay, how are they recouping this? What percent are they taking off to balance out? And this also flows down to the royalty clause. The royalty clause talks about the percentage the artists and how the royalties is being shared between the artist and the record label. It could be 60-40, 60-50, 70-30. As I said, parties are bound by what they agree on. So they just have to be sure that this is actually what they want. Another one is the term. The term is actually the duration of how long the contract lasts. In some instances, the parties actually agree on the number of masters that should be released, the number of EPs and albums, as the case may be. So in negotiating this term, the parties have to be very aware, because if they make it too long, in some cases, maybe the relationship might go sour. They might want to terminate or renegotiate some clauses. It might be very difficult. So it's better it's for like a short period of time, after which parties can evaluate their relationship and maybe know if they want to go further, renegotiate their terms and all that. Then lastly, the termination clause. Termination clause defines the exit strategies, how parties can terminate their contract, what triggers termination. First off, that if that triggering occurrence or if that triggering and circumstance occurs, how do they address it? Okay, if it's beyond what they can address, how do they now sever their relationship without any of the parties having any obligation or anything going forward? So sometimes there's a notice period before which the termination occurs, after which there's also a dispute resolution clause, which could also dictate if the parties intend to go into alternate dispute resolution to negotiate amicably, or maybe get an arbitrator to arbitrate over their differences, or maybe go to court outrightly. So there are a lot of clauses, but parties have to be very aware and maybe very aware of the clauses and the terms in the contract.
I agree with you. I think you've hit the nail on the head. It's so important to be circumspect about entering into an agreement like this. However, something came to mind just while you were speaking. I realized that sometimes artists have to change their names, or maybe misspell their names, or come back with like some, notice or publication saying that, I no longer go by this name, I go by another name. And this borders a lot around trademarks, right? The intellectual property clause of an agreement, of a record label agreement, is absolutely important, because the trademark confers the rights to their names, to the name, to the artist, or to the record label. So in the instance where the record label owns the name of the artist and the artist decides to terminate the agreement, is he going to have to change his name or not? So this must be agreed upon by the parties before entering into the record label agreement, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
I also think change of name sometimes could be for commercial purposes. It might not really necessarily be because of the but I definitely agree that they have to negotiate this, look at these IP clauses, negotiate it adequately. And sometimes, yes, as you said, the party also has to maybe register his trademark in his name to ensure adequate protection, even from third parties aside the record label.
We've said a lot about what the parties have to do, but how can they actually properly negotiate? Not everybody has the knowledge or the acumen to properly, put out their representations and stand by it. So in what ways can parties be effectively represented in entering into an agreement like this?
In addressing this question, it's also good to note that sometimes both parties are coming from they have different bargaining power. You get. So I think the best way to adequately address these issues is to get adequate legal representation while negotiating this contract, because you might not necessarily have all the knowledge at that standpoint, and it could affect you in the long run. So it's better to get a legal representative on both sides, not just even one, on both sides, for it to be adequately represented, for the terms to be adequately interpreted to you in even layman terms. So yes, there should be
clear communication. 100%. Thank you, Chukwudi. We have now come to a close to our conversation. Thank you so much for watching. We hope that you have gained very, very important insights on how to navigate the contractual relationship between a record label and a recording artist. Thank you.
Thank you.